Hi everybody and welcome back to Capricorn Radio. We're going to be talking to Thomas Palladino today. Super excited about today's show. We're going to talk about scalar energy, something I've touched on in the past, but this is incredibly important research that is really being pioneered. A couple of people have really had made some breakthroughs, but Thomas has some really interesting updates on this whole alternative energy, alternative science field today. And I only say alternative in a label sense because this is really cutting edge. This is probably Thomas wouldn't differentiate this as an alternative. It is an alternative by label. But if you want to follow along with today's guest, it's selfhealgo.com. You can read all about Tom there. A little bit about his research before I bring on Tom. He's into scalar energy, as I said. Began during his undergraduate years, and that's where he was inspired by various scientists, especially Nikola Tesla, a hero of mine. And we're going to get into a little bit of background of scalar energy today. Scalar energy is also known as prana, chi, radiant energy, zero-point energy, ki, orgone, elliptic energy. I didn't even know there were so many names. And it's after years experimenting and modifying with this that Tom developed a technique using scalar energy that will transmute pathogens quickly and painlessly. And this technique facilitates the use of photographs of people who desire to have pathogens transmuted in their bodies. So if I have a little bit of promo stuff to do for Tom, I would say just go to his website. It's really well done. He's got excellent articles there, testimonials, events, all about him, all about the scalar sessions. It's just a great research site if you just want to even look at this as well. So without further ado, let's bring on today's guest. Hi Tom, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, it's great to have you here, Tom. Tom, this is wonderful stuff for me because this is pioneering science. I mean, I said in the intro there, alternative science on alternative energy or something like that, you know, because it's like mainstream has really just become a taboo in itself. It's become this dogged, rigid, locked down academic, system where it doesn't do this. It doesn't touch this stuff, Tom, and like I mentioned, Tesla, you researched Tesla and Tesla's invention of scalar energy. I mean, let's focus on that. Tesla was a pioneer of his day. And it's sad that in the last 100 years, there only has been a handful of people that have, carried the flag of Tesla.
That's correct. And that's a shame. That will change as a greater number of people realize what Nikola Tesla achieved. Well, we're going to see the world really rally around his work, around his inventions, his discoveries. I have. Ever since I was a kid, I had a keen interest into what Tesla had achieved, and I realized that what Tesla was working with was not electricity, at least not in the latter part of his life. Mm-hmm. Nikola Tesla discovered scalar energy sometime during his research with AC electricity. And it's my contention that the latter part of Nikola Tesla's life was devoted almost exclusively to scalar energy. Why? Because Tesla saw the merit. He saw that scalar energy has a much greater versatility and much greater promise than that of electricity. And to this day, we don't understand that. Tesla really had two careers. The early part of his career was devoted to AC electricity. The latter part of his career was devoted almost exclusively, once again, to scalar energy. And that's why today people have not been able to duplicate his results. Mm-hmm. Tesla was not working with electricity his last days. Mm-hmm. Tesla was working with scalar energy, and his ability to achieve certain physical phenomenon with scalar energy can only be achieved by way of scalar energy, not by way of electricity.
I mean, look at the top geniuses of all times. I would have to put Tesla up there, at least in the top three. I mean, sure. Apart from the walking genius of Daniel Tammet, who can memorize the value of a pie to 22,500 places and stuff like that. But in the past, in historical figures, I mean, did he even grasp his own intelligence? Did he understand the power of his own intelligence?
Yeah, it's said, and even Nikola Tesla mentioned, that he had flashes of light. And it's my contention that we learn by scalar energy or scalar intelligence. Tesla had this download, this flashes of light, as he called it. Mm-hmm. Well, that really is a download from God, if you will. That's a divine intelligence that was giving Tesla this advantage, this insight to the physical world that we just don't have that. And as you mentioned, Daniel Tammet, well, his ability to memorize pi to what? I think it was 22,000 figures?
Something like
that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Just incredible. Well, that too is a gift of scalar energy. So when we're speaking of scalar energy, that's not exclusive just to light or heat. Mm-hmm. Scalar energy is scalar intelligence, and this is the intelligence of the universe. It's an infinite holographic universe that we have, and hence we have an infinite intelligence working throughout that paradigm. It's fascinating where we're going with
it.
It
is. As you say that, I had a show there during the week. I was talking, actually, funny enough, when you say the flashes of light, I was talking about Ramanujan, the mathematician, who said the exact same thing. He at the age of, I think he died with a lot of liver problems at the age of 33 or something like that, but he was able to, no formal training whatsoever in mathematics, but he was developing mathematical theories that were actually known, like differential calculus, but he was independently coming up with the stuff and inventing it. He was inventing what was already known, but he was also inventing what wasn't known. And still today, there's a branch of mathematics called Ramanujan, and it's so above what we know. Even the greatest mathematicians are still trying to understand his mathematics. But look, when he had that, he said he believed he was downloading this, like Tesla, in divine inspiration, these flashes. It's bizarre that these geniuses that have these, they're all describing the same type of thing, Tom.
Of course, and that's rather apropos of you. It is a download. You can call it an afflatus, you can call it a download or divine inspiration. That's where we're going with scalar energy. I firmly believe once we develop and perfect scalar energy instruments, we will learn by downloading information, intelligence, as these savants have been able to achieve naturally. Mm-hmm. Well, no, not who has the intelligence of Tesla. But if we can interface with this dimension, with scalar energy, mm-hmm. then yes, we too can realize our super genius capability.
Just for the audience who aren't into the science or not maybe as familiar as ourselves, Tom, but maybe just give us a little definition of scalar energy in a science definition, or the scalar energy treatment process then.
Okay. Everything I do is really couched in this objective realm. I don't appreciate anybody who would look at science and be emotional about it. I feel the emotion, mm-hmm. mind you, but I really look at this in a very objective fashion, and it is empirical evidence that I go by. That's my benchmark as a scientist. Mm-hmm. Well, with that said, I've developed scalar energy instruments that indeed control scalar energy. It's not electricity that I'm working with, it's scalar energy. Now, what's the origin of scalar energy? Well, it originates from the stars, our sun, or the stars of the universe. All light originates from these celestial bodies. In turn, all energy is propagated initially as scalar energy. What is scalar energy? It is a double helix. It's a perfect double helix, or some people call it a phi, P-H-I, a phi spiral. With that said, as scalar energy will now propagate from the stars, it begins to degrade, to decouple, if you will. So the double helix will decouple into electricity and magnetism. Gotcha. It's as simple as that. Gotcha. Hence, the predominant energy of the universe is scalar energy. However, invariably, scalar energy will decouple, will degrade into electricity and magnetism, which is inferior. It experiences entropy, and if I had my druthers, I would not want to live in an electromagnetic spectrum. I would much rather prefer to live in a scalar energy dimension.
Wow. That's really beautifully explained, Tom. Tom, the application then of scalar energy, okay, people are going to say, okay, we get the scalar energy, we make the instruments, okay, what's the treatment process? What can scalar energy obviously treat? This is the big one then, I guess.
Sure. My scalar energy instruments act like a satellite. Why? Well, that's just the nature of scalar energy. And again, let's revisit one of my comments. Scalar energy is not electricity. So the properties, the laws that scalar energy observes is not that of electricity. Hence, with my scalar energy instrument, I can treat people with this energy no matter where they're located in the world. So to give you an analogy, my scalar energy instrument functions like a satellite. I'm able to broadcast energy, any scalar energy, anywhere in the world. And the only thing I need in order to broadcast energy to a person is some means to identify them. Well, how do I identify a person? By way of their photograph. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A photograph, if somebody were to submit a photograph to me, that serves as a as a deposit of light. A photograph is a light signature. Everything has light, including a photograph. A photograph of a person is indeed their light hologram or their specific light character. So when I'm treating people around the world, I do so easily, handily, and all I need is their photograph. A photograph allows my instrument to identify the person first and foremost, and then broadcast energy into their body. So what am I saying? I could treat anybody in the world. I could treat somebody on the moon for that matter. And all I need is their photograph.
Wow, how wonderful. This is basically, a photograph is basically capturing the DNA structure at a moment in time from the light source hitting the camera. It's a photographic light source capture of that DNA structure of that human as they were at that moment in time, yes?
Exactly. A photograph represents that person. It represents their scalar energy harmonic. Now, what I've observed about scalar energy, it transcends time and space. And for this reason, in the scalar energy dimension, everything is connected. Everything is concatenated. So with that said, the entire universe is connected to itself. So if you submit a photograph to me, that photograph is already connected to this matrix, to this hologram. So it's easy for me to access that hologram by way of scalar energy. So with that said, I can transcend time and space. Scalar energy is a hologram. It's a holographic dimension. As such, it doesn't matter how old your photograph is, nor does it matter where you are located physically in the world. I can access you instantaneously. There is no time delay when I'm treating people. It's an instantaneous communication.
Wow. Wow. Tom, obviously the biggest things that people want to treat are viruses and cancers. Right. What's the treatment process? Is this an ongoing process for a period of time, like normal cancer treatments or normal virus treatments? Which really, some of the virus treatments are only band-aid. They don't really actually tackle the cancers. I mean, they actually sometimes do more damage than good. Tell us about the treatment process. Is it a regular thing? Is it an ongoing process? And can this, what type of cancers or maybe some details are viruses that this can treat?
Sure. I've concentrated my research on pathogens, germs, such as viruses, bacteria, and fungi. Mm-hmm. And I will declare that I now have control, mastery over germs, over pathogens. My scalar energy instruments allow me to easily, readily break apart any germ in the human body, or an animal body for that matter. So with that statement, I can easily break apart any virus, bacterium, or fungus. Hence, I have the cure for all viral, bacterial, and fungal disease. Now, we have to take into consideration germs are foreign. They don't belong in their body. Well, it's easy for me, first of all, to identify a germ inside the human body. And with scalar energy, with this control, with this mastery, I'm able to break apart the molecular bonds, whether it's a covalent bond or a hydrogen bond, etc. I'm able to break apart the bonds that hold together a germ, a pathogen. And in so doing, the germ then no longer exists. I've, if you will, deconstructed its geometry. So with that, I remove the causative agent of disease. Now, this is very, very promising. What I'm saying to you is this. I am able to break apart, to disassemble the herpes virus. Hence, I can cure herpes. If I can remove the causative agent, eradicate the causative agent, well, the germ no longer exists. If the germ's not in the body, then you're cured of herpes. And that's my declaration. My scalar energy instruments allow me to control physical matter. I've devised a technique using my scalar energy instruments in which I can break apart the molecular bonds of herpes. As such, I can cure herpes. I've been doing this routinely now for the past 2.5 years. It's easy to do with scalar energy.
The thing is, Tom, I'm listening to you talking here. This isn't like normal treatment in respect to, they say the cure is worse than the cause or the symptom. But normally, people for viruses or cancers, they literally attack viciously the cause of the problem and maybe inflammation or makes it worse. But this, what you're describing, this decoupling process, is more like a cleansing process. It's more like a cleansing of the virus.
Yes, it is, and it's benign. Now, keep in mind what I've stated previously, that scalar energy originates from the stars, from our sun. It's benign energy. Well, when you walk outside at night and you have starlight all around you, is that harmful? No, it's beneficial. So I'm working outside of the electromagnetic spectrum. So this is a benign treatment. Actually, people don't even feel it when I'm treating them with scalar energy, unless you're really, really sensitive. So there are no side effects. Why? Well, I'm not working with chemicals. This is non-physical light. Light is not of a physical character. And as such, there is no die-off or adverse side effect.
This is wonderful stuff, Tom. Tom, this is really the pioneering health science of the future.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What I'm declaring immediately now is that the technique that I've developed is the cure for all pathogenic disease, all diseases caused by germs. Well, let me just rattle off 5, 6, 7 diseases as such. Herpes, as I mentioned, tuberculosis, cholera, dengue fever, malaria, AIDS, HIV infection, hepatitis. All of those aforementioned pathogenic diseases are now within our reach. We can cure all of them. And the reason we can cure them, we break apart the causative agent. Get rid of the causative agent, the germ, and you no longer have the symptoms associated with that disease.
You know, Tom, and I've been guilty of this myself, but people think about this, oh my God, this is just too good to be true, because we're so locked into the drug companies, into the pharmaceutical run industry of hospitals and doctors, and everybody runs to their local doctor for them to be told, go take your pill, this'll solve everything. And I first heard about scalar energy a long time ago. I was a little bit, I'll be honest, I was dismissive because I went too good to be true. But then I knew somebody who tried it and was successful with it. And then it was for something totally different, by the way. And then I tried it myself for a chest infection. And I was cleared up within hours. I mean, my chest infection was gone, and I seen the results immediately. So I've had first-hand, and I don't get many chest infections, but this is incredible stuff, Tom. I mean, I've had first-hand experience of it myself. What is the reception to mainstream science, mainstream doctors, health industry? Are these guys trying to put a stamp down on this?
I would say as of this date, my work is suppressed. People are not paying attention to it, and probably for selfish reasons. If scalar energy can indeed, in this immediate instance, control germs, break apart germs easily, well, this will be a threat to some people in the medical community, a threat to their money and power. Now, to extend that, obviously, scalar energy has so many applications. It's so versatile. Scalar energy eventually will be the new energy that mankind will embrace. It's my forecast that scalar energy will replace coal and oil, hydroelectric power, electricity, nuclear. Scalar energy is the energy of the future. It is an infinite supply of energy. The universe is awash with scalar energy. So what are we looking at? Ultimately, we're looking at a different way of living, a different paradigm, an entirely new way of not only generating energy generation, but also what that applies to and what that will mean for mankind. Everything's going to change.
Wow. Look at Tesla in his day. He was suppressed for his technology too. I mean, you know, this stuff, I can see why people won't want this to be explored, developed. You know, like I say, we're locked into an industry, whether we like it or not. Tell me about the submitting of the photographs, Tom. This is incredible. I don't know if you can tell me much about obviously there's a painting process for your instruments, obviously. I know that as an engineer. People that submit the photographs, can you tell us about the process of what happens inside the machine? Is that allowable? Can you tell us about that?
Sure, I will. The beauty of a scalar energy instrument, it has no moving parts. And you might say, well, how do you generate the energy? I don't. I simply am extracting that energy from the universe. Now, this is the beauty of scalar energy. First of all, let's consider your car. Well, you obviously have moving parts in your car, and you have the consumption of fuel that's turned into some type of work output. Mm-hmm. Well, to the contrary, a scalar energy instrument does not use fuel. It does not have any moving parts. I simply am taking the ambient energy that the stars that our sun provides, and I am taking that energy and then directing it and able to broadcast scalar energy as such and do incredible things with it. In this case, I'm able to broadcast scalar energy and break apart germs. I see in the future where I will be able to take scalar energy and then power a motor. So the power source no longer will be a nuclear power plant or a hydrothermal power plant, etc. It will be the stars. The stars are essentially the power plant for the universe. So when somebody submits a photograph to me, I actually take that physical photograph and I place it inside my scalar energy instrument. As such, that photograph now is within a different dimension. I'm not working with an electromagnetic dimension force field. I'm working with a scalar energy dimension force field. And when a photograph is introduced into a scalar energy force field, then I can make an immediate connection with that person. I can send energy, scalar energy, to that person. As such, I simply instruct the energy to go out and to break apart germs inside that person's body. It's as simple as that. I know it's quite profound, but again, a photograph allows me to access a person, and once I take that photograph and place it within my scalar energy instrument, they are instantly incorporated in this hologram, in this matrix, if you will. The connection is instantaneous. Hence, I can instantly tell a germ to break apart in their body.
Tom, virtually to us little humans on Earth, this scalar energy is pretty limitless in the grand scheme of things.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Once scalar energy comes into vogue, it's my prediction that the monopolies will topple. You're not going to have any Fortune 100 company holding on to any patent or any type of exclusive technology as they are now. Scalar energy will really liberate mankind, and it will indeed break these monopolies around the world.
How do you deal with the public that are interested? Let's say somebody's interested in listening to the show here, Tom. What's the process? Because and let me just say, a lot of people are interested in Tesla, and they soak up Tesla's scalar and pioneering research, and they're all about alternative energy, alternative science, free energy, all this type of stuff. And they get the whole Tesla phenomenon now in the last 20 years. However, they're still locked into this paradigm. They're still locked into this suppression of knowledge, and they're not scientists and they're not engineers, and they don't get it like us and the scientists and the engineers do, Tom. What's the process for these guys? How do you get these guys to... Do you have an approach for these? Do you have an education? Do you have to educate them first, Tom?
I think a great start would be just look on Google or Bing and read something about Nikola Tesla. Just a super genius, and you'll appreciate what he's done with scalar energy. Now, Tesla had two careers. The early part, the initial part of his scientific career was really predicated upon AC electricity and its wonderment. And that's great. The latter part, the second part of Nikola Tesla's life was devoted almost exclusively to scalar energy. And this is why today he's still a mystery, because people don't realize in Tesla's second career, the latter part of his career, he was working almost exclusively with scalar energy. He saw the merit of scalar energy, and he essentially abandoned electricity. Well, I've abandoned electricity also. Electricity is an inferior form of energy. I don't experiment with it. It doesn't interest me. So I'm following in the footsteps of Tesla. Secondly, I would say if you're interested in my work, my website is selfhealgo.com. I've written hundreds of articles about scalar energy, as well as the discoveries that I indeed have encountered. And that hopefully will give you, if you will, a running start, some type of ability to better understand this second energy of the universe.
Sure. Tom, I was on your website today. It's wonderful. The articles are absolutely awesome. I've been going through a few of them. Tell me about the nutrient therapy. This is really, because I'm into this eating well and nutrient stuff. This is really beneficial to me, but for the audience as well. Tell us about the nutrient therapy.
Sure. Again, with scalar energy, we have control of matter. my statement is this: scalar energy allows us to control physical matter. We can either assemble matter or disassemble matter. We can either assemble molecular form or disassemble molecular form. Some people call that transmutation or alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
I simply say it's the nature of scalar energy. Frankly, it's very easy to assemble and disassemble physical matter with scalar energy. So I've developed a technique with scalar energy in which I can assemble vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals, amino acids. What the body needs for proper nutrition, for sound health, I'm able to assemble those essential nutrients inside the body. And I've been doing this now for myself for years, and I would say that I have achieved a level of health that's unparalleled, that I've never been able to achieve prior to this nutrient program. Again, I'm able to assemble over 240 micronutrients inside my body. I do it all by way of scalar energy. And when I am assembling these micronutrients, it is happening at the cellular level. Each cell of the human body assembles a micronutrient. Hence, it's the perfect delivery system for vitamins, for minerals, for antioxidants.
Wow! So this isn't just healing the sick. This is making our food better and everything. Which has also got an exponential effect of eating the proper nutrients keeps you well.
Yes, it does, and that's a great point. Finally, we have a means to deliver the nutrients to the cell. There is no metabolic pathway that I have to observe. I don't have to worry about the body assimilating and incorporating these nutrients. To the contrary, I assemble inside each cell of the human body the nutrients that they need. So in many ways, I'm sidestepping, I'm obviating, if you will, the normal metabolic processes. I'm able to deliver the nutrients inside each cell of the human body. It's the perfect delivery system for nutrients.
Oh, this is wonderful. You really have provided a wealth of, background and information on this, Tom, in these articles. You must really love science, Tom. You must really.
I love it.
You're passionate about it.
It's a playground. It's a playground. And if I'm sure many people would concur with me. Once you really find something that you enjoy doing, this is not work to me. I'll say play. I'm not going to say work. I play 12 hours a day in my laboratory or behind a computer or researching. Mm-hmm. It's not difficult for me to play 12 hours a day.
Oh, wonderful. Tom, okay, people into alternative health, they're going to worry about their chakras as well. And if you want to talk a little bit about the chakras, does scalar waves affect the chakras, the 7 chakra points? Does that come into play?
Yes, and they have to. They have to. By virtue of the fact that, yes, everybody has 7 chakras. Well, what is a chakra? Let's define our terms. A chakra is a point of light. Mm-hmm. Everybody has 7 chakras. And specifically, those 7 chakras are composed of scalar energy. Well, many of us realize that a chakra spins. It's derived from the Sanskrit word. It's a spinning. It's a vortex. Well, that's what scalar energy is. It's a double helix. It spins. Mm. So when we refer to our 7 chakras, we're really referring to 7 scalar energy vortices. They spin. They rotate. And my scalar energy instrument, or any high-powered scalar energy instrument for that matter, will have a profound effect on the integrity and on the alignment of our 7 chakras. Yes, my scalar energy instruments can in some way balance the 7 chakras. Now, it's not because I necessarily have any special gift as a scalar energy operator. To the contrary, I literally turn on my instrument, and this energy, this universal energy, this divine energy, automatically reprograms the chakras. Many people who come to me have told me that their depression is reversed or that their insomnia is reversed. Some people have gone as far to say, I've not been able to get a full night of sleep for years, but after your scalar energy treatments, I can sleep. I can finally get sleep, unmitigated sleep, say sleep that was not in any way interrupted for 5, 6, 7 hours. Mm-hmm. And they ask me, they say, Tom, what have you done? And I simply reply, it's not that I've done anything. It's simply this divine energy, this universal consciousness has corrected your chakras. It happens automatically, or perhaps I should say coincidentally.
Perhaps the people that have done Reiki and healing, they're just like manual instruments, if you will, or human instruments for this universal energy in a way that the scalar energy is with your machine, Tom.
Yes, and that's a good point. Let's look at a few examples of scalar energy in motion here. People who have healing hands, when some people can lay their hands upon you and heal you, that's a broadcast of scalar energy. Mm-hmm. And that's obvious now that we understand that there's two energies in the universe. Healing hands are scalar energy hands. Some people have the ability with a kind word to lift a spirit, or perhaps prayer has been shown to produce a healing. Well, that makes sense because prayer is a broadcast likewise of scalar energy. So it's always been my contention. People are adept. Everybody's an expert in scalar energy. We just don't realize that we're working with scalar energy every moment of our lives. Everybody prays to some extent. That's a broadcast of scalar energy. Everybody thinks. That's a broadcast likewise of scalar energy. Everybody has feelings, emotions. Mm-hmm. Emotions are a broadcast of scalar energy. It's all around us. It's part of us. We can't survive without scalar energy. So once we understand that this is the universal energy of the universe, once we finally get that, then we're going to work with it, embrace it, and we will finally advance this science to the point that it will become the norm.
Respect to the micronutrients that you were talking about then, perhaps then it's like the sunlight growing plants and naturally in the biological kingdom is basically just using scalar energy to build these micronutrients naturally.
Yes, precisely. And I'll tell the audience about something.
You're not really inventing anything new.
I'll offer this caveat before I mention this. I don't suggest this for everybody because you don't have a scalar energy instrument. I only eat one meal a day. Throughout the day, I'm assembling micronutrients inside my body. Now, I'm not a youngster, so I don't need constant nutrition. I only eat one meal a day, and that's sufficient. My scalar energy instrument assembles the nutrients that I need in my body. I don't have hunger pains. I am not hungry. On account of the fact that I treat myself 12 hours a day for micronutrients by way of scalar energy. So I've been able to curtail my food intake significantly. Well, how am I surviving? How am I getting by? Scalar energy is assembling the nutrients in my body that I need.
Wow. Tom, outside the alternative health, if you want to call it that, I mean, what has science done with, and set aside Tesla as well, what has mainstream science done with scalar energy? Have they explored it in any way, in any form?
No, I'll speak for the United States. I'm an American. I live in the state of Florida.
Sure.
In the United States, scalar energy is not being given its due. There is no serious consideration for scalar energy. Now, perhaps people simply just don't know. They don't have that education. I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to educate people, and I'm trying to show people the merit of scalar energy. But sadly, in the United States, the scientific community is not conversant with this emerging energy, this new energy, if you will. It's just not happening right now.
Wow. Respect to, obviously, we've got males and females on this planet, not just the human race. Can you treat any particular symptoms for males or any particular symptoms for females in particular?
Yeah. Over the past few years, I've developed and perfected, I would say, a hormone therapy treatment. Mm-hmm. I'm able to treat women for female hormones. I'm able to assemble inside the female body female hormones. And many women see the benefit for that. Obviously, people later in their life have a hormonal deficiency. Well, imagine this. If I'm able to assemble progesterone and estrogen and the necessary hormones that women need, I have a growing clientele, if you will, of women who are on my female hormone therapy. It's the missing component for some people in their lives. And likewise, conversely for men, I'm able to assemble male hormones in the male for men. As such, many men tell me that this ability to assemble male hormones has significantly improved their health. Their mental clarity has improved. Actually, they're stronger. I treat myself likewise for male hormones, and every time I treat myself, I feel a greater sense of clarity. And I also feel it really almost has an anabolic character about it. I'm assembling testosterone in my body. I feel stronger, and I am stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simply, it comes down to if you can indeed effectuate that, if you can indeed assemble testosterone inside the male body, you're going to be stronger. You're going to be healthier. And indeed, that's what I'm doing. And I can accomplish that rather readily.
Of course, a lot of people will only look towards something like this if they've had something really scary like a cancer or something really serious. But this is like stuff, this can be used for all sorts of normal, everyday. The common cold is probably a good example, but this can be used for all sorts of normal, everyday symptoms of normal expected problems like a chest infection or a flu, cold, chicken pox, some stuff that commonly comes up time and time again.
Yeah, that's a great point. Presently, my scalar energy treatments, I'm able to disassemble over 80,000 species of germs, pathogens. Well, subsumed under that list of 80,000 species of germs are herpes virus, smallpox, the common flu, bacteria that would cause congestion, or fungi that would cause likewise distress or congestion. 80,000 species of germs are within my control. Hence, with that statement, I'm essentially addressing the common pathogens that cause disease in mankind. I'm able to, frankly, cure thousands of pathogenic diseases by my ability to eradicate over 80,000 species of germs.
Wow. Do you have to do any particular work to each one of those? Forgive the statistics in me here, Tom. I'm trying to statistically analyze what you're telling me, but you don't have to work on each one, or maybe when you get like a serious virus, do you have to do specific research or work on that?
No. Scalar Energy does all the intelligent work. I simply scan photographs through my instrument. I actually have photographs of germs, and I scan those photographs inside my scalar energy instrument. Mm-hmm. And as such, the instrument will decipher the energy, say, of the herpes virus, and then broadcast the necessary energy inside the human body for that herpes virus to break apart. It's really the reverse phase angle energy. For instance, as you well know, some people can shatter glass with their voice. People can actually hold a wine glass up to their lips and make that wine glass vibrate. They'll actually sing the same resonating frequency. As such, the wine glass will vibrate and then shatter. Well, that's what I'm doing with a germ. I'm putting back into the germ the same life force energy, but in a reverse phase capacity. And the reverse phase capacity serves as the informational input for the molecules to break apart, for the molecular bonds to, if you will, deconstruct, to disassemble.
Like a canceling process.
Yes.
Wow. Tom, we've obviously got health ailments out there, or problems with people who don't have necessarily virus problems. For example, you got diabetes or something where they overreduce sugars or penicillin, and it's kind of like it's not necessarily a virus, but it's a problem within the body. Can that be treated too?
Not necessarily directly, but perhaps tangentially. What do I mean by that? Well, some autoimmune diseases, and this has been proven, some autoimmune diseases were triggered by the presence of pathogens in which the body now has over-responded. There's an overcompensation to the point that the body is now attacking itself. Well, if I can remove a pathogen or a series of pathogens from the body, then many times this autoimmune disease, this autoimmune disorder, will in many ways abate and sometimes disappear altogether. Get rid of the pathogens, eradicate the pathogens, and then the body no longer has this overexpression, this autoimmune response.
Gotcha.
Now, subsumed under that is diabetes. Some people feel that diabetes was initially triggered by an overexpression by this autoimmune disorder attacking our pancreas, our pancreatic cells. Well, if we can remove the pathogens that our pancreas has been infected with, then in many ways we can either assuage or in some way block altogether this overexpression, this autoimmune defense that is what? Attacking our pancreas.
Ah, how wonderful. See, you don't attack the root of the problem, you attack the byproduct, and then all of a sudden it doesn't need... It's like a cancer. A cancer is an overproduction of cells. So in a way, that's why cancers would be treated as well.
That's correct.
You stop the overproduction.
I believe within the next year, I will be able to successfully treat cancer. I need a stronger scalar standing wave. I don't have that yet. But if I can produce a stronger standing scalar energy wave, I should be able to correct mutation. As such, I should be able to cure cancer. I'm not there yet. So my work, and this is the only thing that I herald on my website, I have the cure for pathogenic infection. Mm-hmm. I have the cure for herpes, for tuberculosis, for AIDS. Next year, I think I will probably make the advance. I probably will be able to make inroads against cancer, and hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to cure cancer by next year.
Sure. Tom, obviously on selfhealgo.com, your website, great wealth of information there, but there must be some sort of a consultation process with your clients. Can people consult with you? Can they contact you direct and talk to you?
Yes, they can. But it's really not necessary. And a lot of people, once they read the website, they'll realize what I'm offering is universal health care. Everybody can benefit from the three modalities that I offer. That is, everybody can benefit from the fact that I can disassemble over 80,000 species of germs, that I can assemble nutrients inside the body, and that I can balance the chakras. That's why I've developed this. It's taken me years, but I've perfected it. Those three modalities are essentially universal health care. My goal, just to let you know the grand scheme, is to treat everybody in the world. Well, all I need is a photograph to treat people. So on any given day, if I have help, if people would supply me with the photographs, I could easily treat 5 to 10 million people a day. And in so doing, I could do what? I could eradicate 80,000, 90,000 potential species of germs in their body. I could provide them micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals that they need, and I could balance their chakras. Again, if all I need is a photograph, my instruments are capable. I could easily treat with help with a staff. I could easily treat 10 million people a day.
Wow. Tom, if in the photographic process, do they have to have a photograph that's recent, old, or even does the photograph have to be of the person when they were well and good and healthy?
That's a good point. The age of the photograph does not matter. All that really matters is that you photograph some part of your skin. And the reason I say that, your skin is your person. That's all I need to access. It's a photograph of your face, your hand, or your foot. Your skin cannot be covered by clothing. That's all I need. A photograph of a person, some part of their skin.
Wow. This affect the DNA structure of anybody in particular? And I mean that does it attack the DNA? Does it restore the DNA? Does it fix the DNA to its original before?
DNA is a smaller version of scalar energy. What do I mean by that? Well, look at DNA. In and of itself, it's a double helix. And the proportion, the geometry of DNA, any DNA strand, is exactly in proportion to that of a standing scalar energy wave. That is, if scalar energy is a double helix, it produces our DNA, which is likewise a double helix. If the ratio and proportion found in a scalar wave is that of phi, 1.618, you can find that mathematical value, 1.618, in DNA. Mm-hmm. So what is my point? DNA is created, formed, and maintained by scalar energy.
Sure.
In order to correct faulty DNA, genetic disorder, or cancer, mm-hmm. you simply need a strong standing scalar wave to correct, cure cancer, to correct, cure genetic disorder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think the research has been done there on the genetics in this department. Again, the cancer research is largely drug orientated.
Right. It's
a shame that it's gone that way. I think there's a desperation in the cancer research. It's almost like it started from a desperation point of view.
If you look at a drug, bluntly, what is a drug? It's a pill of energy. Everything is energy. Mm-hmm. So when you're having somebody take a pill, It's some form of energy that they're swallowing that's being incorporated into their body. It's a tool. It's an energy tool. Yes, it's of a chemical nature, but nevertheless it carries an energy signature.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I obviate that because that's the crude way of doing it. Drugs are the crude way of curing disease or attending to disease. The precise way is with energy itself, not a chemical. The precise way of curing disease is with light, with energy, specifically with scalar light, scalar energy. It's my contention that scalar energy, once we understand it, and I'm getting there, hopefully within the next year, I will be able to correct the human genome, to correct mutation. If I can correct an addition, a deletion, a substitution, then I will be able to cure cancer. I'm on that path right now.
Let me go a bit left field on you here. Telomeres and aging on the DNA strands. Could you stop the aging process? Because they're kind of looking at the telomeres, these little Flugelbinder shoelace caps that are on the end of the DNA strands. If you could stop the DNA degradation, I think is the probably best way to explain it.
Yes. Well, we see examples of how scalar energy can delay decomposition. In some ways, scalar energy can prolong life. Well, what do I mean by that? There have been experiments that have been conducted with pyramids. Well, a pyramid is a natural capacitor. It assumes scalar energy. And many times if you put a fruit, a banana, or some type of vegetable inside a pyramid, it will not rot, it will not decompose as quickly. Why? Because scalar energy serves as a life force. Scalar energy slows down the rate of decay. It slows down aging. Now, I believe in a perfect scalar energy environment, in an unmitigated scalar energy environment, your DNA would automatically be corrected. You would attain a steady state, and you could not age. You could not decay. You would essentially be in a state of perpetuity. You would have perpetual life if you lived in a perfect scalar energy environment.
Oh, wonderful. I just twigged something there, Tom, from two totally separate sources. You've just unified something for me, because I know from the ancient structures of pyramids, they talk about them as being scalar machines. And I also know that from research that was done with seeds that were put on top of pyramids all around the world, that they have a 30% more yield. They yield a 30% bigger harvest when put on top of activated pyramids. I never thought of them as scalar machines before. Perhaps that the ancients were, of course, they were very, very well versed in philosophy and phi and nature and harmony and the Fibonacci ratio. Perhaps these guys knew something about scalar energy, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. You see the pyramids of Egypt. You see the pyramids of Mexico. Those are all scalar energy instruments. Every pyramid is a broadcast device of scalar energy. It's a capacitor of scalar energy. So there's a great deal of geometry incorporated in every pyramid, and that's the mystery that we're just starting to uncover.
Let me go left field on you again here, Tom. I'm trying to cover all bases here. Can you treat animals? I mean, if you can't photograph a dog, but the dog's not going to be showing his skin because he's covered in hair, would it have to be like to show the bit of the paw or something? Or because there are going to be people out there that I know. I've got a little kitten here, and I think he's the nicest thing that ever happened to me. I love him to bits, and if something ever happened to him, I would try scalar energy. So, in that respect, can animals be treated? And if so, what is the process for that?
Yes, it's routine. I treat animals. People frequently send me photographs of their dogs, their cats, their birds, their horses. It's the same process. Why? Because it's biological life. I treat a pet the same way I treat a person. So many people, when they sign up on my website, not only will they submit photographs of their entire family to be treated, they also submit photographs of their pets. And invariably, just consider, I'm able to eradicate the germs that are impinging upon a dog's health or a cat's health, for that matter. Well, that pet, that animal is going to respond favorably, being what? Germ-free, pathogen-free. Secondly, I can assemble nutrients in their body. Every animal needs nutrients. And yes, there are chakras. All biological life has this universal force field, this vortical action of scalar energy. So many animals that I treat respond quite favorably to the chakra balancing.
Wow. You know, the funny thing is, I know about the Reiki masters talking about doing Reiki at a distance too, and I never really understood that, but now I do. I have a much more deeper understanding of this.
Sure.
Tom, incredibly wonderful discussion. We're at the top of the hour. I kind of want to wrap things up. What's new for you now? This is gotta take a lot of your time, Tom. I mean, you must get bogged down with the time management of all this. You first of all, I can see you've been at this a very long time, Tom.
Yeah,
What's new for you now? Do you want to kind of is it solely concentrating on the health and healing people?
I want the world to first and foremost realize that Scalar Energy is the greatest scientific friend that they could ever ask for. As far as my work, this is all I do. This consumes me. I wish I could work more than 12 hours a day. I don't know if I'm physically capable of doing that, but my immediate approach is to get this information out there. Sadly, I have the cure for herpes. I have the cure for malaria. I have the cure for AIDS. I want to start treating people. I'll prove this. I'm a result-driven researcher. I'll prove it. Let me prove it. I have no chagrin with that statement.
Sure.
Moving on, I want to be able to use Scalar Energy to send this energy at a distance, so that it will be a wireless transmission of energy. If I can do that, then I can overcome the grid system. We'll no longer need a grid system. And essentially, what I'm trying to do in a nutshell is create a new energy paradigm, a new way of generating energy. I want to be able to replace coal and electricity and nuclear power. Scalar Energy will be the means by which we can obviate or simply make obsolete our existing power generation paradigm.
You know, I had a Reiki master tell me, Tom, that Jesus was perhaps doing Reiki when they talk about his healing hands, and he was going around healing the sick with his hands. And I never ever thought about it before until the Reiki master told me. And then when it just makes sense to me, perhaps he was using Scalar Energy.
Well, Jesus is the master himself. He controls Scalar Energy. He's the creator of Scalar Energy. So by all means, God always works hand in hand with creation. Mm-hmm. God would never contradict himself. Yes, Jesus, by way of a prayer, could heal somebody. Why? Prayer is a broadcast of Scalar Energy. Yes, many times Jesus would lay his hands upon somebody, and that person would be healed by the broadcast of Scalar Energy coming from the hands of Jesus.
Well, you know, and you've just hit on something there, you know, that this broadcast, this intention, this positive attitude, you know, you are what you reap and sow. Like, I mean, why not put out the positive energy out there and eliminate that negativity? You know, it's a good start, Tom, no?
Yes, thank you. Good, and a good point on your part. Thank you. That's apropos.
Yeah. Tom, wonderful discussion. Selfheal.go.com. Wonderful articles there, Tom. I'm going to link you up on the Capricorn Radio blog as well with some of those. It's such wonderful information. You've put so much time and energy into this, Tom. It can only be done from a passionate person, this amount of time and effort. So look, I wish you every success in that, Tom. I really do. And hopefully we get some press on this for you today. But Tom, I've got to get you back maybe for a TV interview in the not too distant future. But for now, it's been wonderful talking to you. It really, really has.
Thank you. I've appreciated your time, and thank you everybody for listening in. Scalar Energy is about to change the course of history. Be a part of it.
I showed there during the week. I was talking, actually, funny enough, when you say the flashes of light, I was talking about Ramanujan, the mathematician, who said the exact same thing. He at the age of, I think he died with a lot of liver problems at the age of 33 or something like that, but he was able to, no formal training whatsoever, in mathematics, but he was developing mathematical theories that were actually known, like differential calculus, but he was independently coming up with the stuff and inventing it. He was inventing what was already known, but he was also inventing what wasn't known. And still today, there's a branch of mathematics called Ramanujan, and it's so above what we know. Even the greatest mathematicians are still trying to understand his mathematics. But when he had that, he said he believed he was downloading this, like Tesla, in divine inspiration, these flashes. It's bizarre that these geniuses that have these, they're all describing the same type of thing, Tom.
Of course, and that's rather apropos of you, it is a download. You can call it an afflatus, you can call it a download or divine inspiration. That's where we're going with scalar energy. I firmly believe once we develop and perfect scalar energy instruments, we will learn by downloading information, intelligence, as these savants have been able to achieve naturally. Mm-hmm. Well, no, not who has the intelligence of Tesla. But if we can interface with this dimension, with scalar energy, mm-hmm. then yes, we too can realize our super genius capability.
Just for the audience who aren't into the science or not maybe as familiar as ourselves, Tom, but maybe just give us a little definition of scalar energy in a science definition, or the scalar energy treatment process then.
Okay, to scalar energy. And that's why today people have not been able to duplicate his results. Mm-hmm. Tesla was not working with electricity his last days. Mm-hmm. Tesla was working with scalar energy, and his ability to achieve certain physical phenomenon with scalar energy can only be achieved by way of scalar energy, not by way of electricity.
I mean, look at the top geniuses of all times. I would have to put Tesla up there, at least in the top three. I mean, apart from the walking genius of Daniel Tammet, who can memorize the value of a pi to 22,500 places and stuff like that. But in the past, in historical figures, I mean, did he even grasp his own intelligence? Did he understand the power of his own intelligence?
Yeah, it's said, and even Nikola Tesla mentioned, that he had flashes of light. And it's my contention that we learn by scalar energy or scalar intelligence. Tesla had this download, this flashes of light, as he called it. Mm-hmm. Well, that really is a download from God, if you will. That's a divine intelligence that was giving Tesla this advantage, this insight to the physical world that we just don't have that. And as you mentioned, Daniel Tammet, well, his ability to memorize pi to what? I think it was 22,000 figures?
Something like
is
that.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Just incredible. Well, that too is a gift of scalar energy. So when we're speaking of scalar energy, that's not exclusive just to light or heat. Mm-hmm. Scalar energy is scalar intelligence. And this is the intelligence of the universe. It's an infinite holographic universe that we have, and hence we have an infinite intelligence working throughout that paradigm. You know, it's fascinating where we're going with
it. It is. You know, as you say that, I had
everything I do is really couched in this objective realm. I don't appreciate anybody who would look at science and be emotional about it. I feel the emotion, mm-hmm. mind you, but I really look at this in a very objective fashion, and it is empirical evidence that I go by. That's my benchmark as a scientist. Mm-hmm. Well, with that said, I've developed scalar energy instruments that indeed control scalar energy. It's not electricity that I'm working with, it's scalar energy. Now, what's the origin of scalar energy? Well, it originates from the stars, our sun or the stars of the universe. All light originates from these celestial bodies. In turn, all energy is propagated initially as scalar energy. What is scalar energy? It is a double helix. It's a perfect double helix, or some people call it a phi, P-H-I, a phi spiral. With that said, as scalar energy will now propagate from the stars, it begins to degrade, to decouple, if you will. So the double helix will decouple into electricity and magnetism. Gotcha. It's as simple as that. Gotcha. Hence, the predominant energy of the universe is scalar energy. However, invariably, scalar energy will decouple, will degrade into electricity and magnetism, which is inferior. It experiences entropy, and if I had my druthers, I would not want to live in an electromagnetic spectrum. I would much rather prefer to live in a scalar energy dimension.
Wow, that's really beautifully explained, Tom. Tom, the application then of scalar energy, okay, people are going to say, okay, Hi everybody and welcome back to Capricorn Radio. We're going to be talking to Thomas Palladino today. Super excited about today's show. We're going to talk about scalar energy, something I've touched on in the past, but this is incredibly important research that is really being pioneered. A couple of people have really had made some breakthroughs, but Thomas has some really interesting updates on this whole alternative energy, alternative science field today. And I only say alternative in a label sense because this is really cutting edge. This is probably Thomas wouldn't differentiate this as an alternative. It is an alternative by label. But if you want to follow along with today's guest, it's selfhealgo.com. You can read all about Tom there. A little bit about his research before I bring on Tom. He's into scalar energy, as I said. Began during his undergraduate years, and that's where he was inspired by various scientists, especially Nikola Tesla, a hero of mine. And we're going to get into a little bit of background of scalar energy today. Scalar energy is also known as prana, chi, radiant energy, 0-point energy, ki, argon, elliptic energy. I didn't even know there were so many names. And it's after years experimenting and modifying with this that Tom developed a technique using scalar energy that will transmute pathogens quickly and painlessly. And this technique facilitates the use of photographs of people who desire to have pathogens transmuted in their bodies. So if I have a little bit of promo stuff to do for Tom, I would say just go to his website. It's really well done. He's got excellent articles there, testimonials, events, all about him, all about the scalar sessions. It's just a great research site if you just want to even look at this as well. So without further ado, let's bring on today's guest. Hi Tom, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, it's great to have you here, Tom. Tom, this is wonderful stuff for me because this is pioneering science. I mean, I said in the intro there, alternative science on alternative energy or something like that, you know, because it's like mainstream has really just become a taboo in itself. It's become this dogged, rigid, locked down academic, you know, system where it doesn't do this. It doesn't touch this stuff, Tom, you know. And like I mentioned, Tesla, you know, you researched Tesla and Tesla's invention of scalar energy. I mean, let's focus on that. Tesla was a pioneer of his day. You know, and it's sad that in the last 100 years, there only has been a handful of people that have, you know, carried the flag of Tesla.
That's correct. And that's a shame. And that will change as a greater number of people realize what Nikola Tesla achieved. Well, we're going to see the world really rally around his work, around his inventions, his discoveries. I have, ever since I was a kid, I had a keen interest into what Tesla had achieved, and I realized that what Tesla was working with was not electricity, at least not in the latter part of his life. Mm-hmm. Nikola Tesla discovered scalar energy sometime during his research with AC electricity. And it's my contention that the latter part of Nikola Tesla's life was devoted almost exclusively to scalar energy. Why? Because Tesla saw the merit. He saw that scalar energy has a much greater versatility and much greater promise than that of electricity. And to this day, we don't understand that. Tesla really had two careers. The early part of his career was devoted to AC electricity. The latter part of his career was devoted almost exclusively, once again,